I've already covered some stuff from the Sims 3 store that I had at least heard of. For this video, it's a bit different because for the longest time I was sure that the subject of this review was the exact same thing as Grimm's Ghastly Manor, but in actuality, Gothique Library is possibly the most forgotten lot in the entire Sims 3 store. So in this video, I'll try to show you all it has to offer. Starting off with Create a Sim, there's no Create a Sim, so instead I'll show you the one, the only, Tiffany Wednesday pole art, also known as Tiffany Gothic pole art, wearing a base game goth outfit to match the lot that we'll be visiting in a second. I'ma be honest, Chief, the build and buy isn't much better. There's almost nothing new, half of the catalog is just the same column for 3 different heights, and if we want to build a library, there's also just one bookcase. Other than that, the set comes with 2 new lights, 1 wall light and 1 candelabra, I think, a couple of new windows and a matching set of a modular couch and coffee table, and also a matching dining chair. The couch might be my favorite object from the set, because it creates so many different shapes depending on how you put everything together. There's also a new chess table. And the last object is the real star of the show, but we'll get to it once we get to it. For now, let me quickly conjure up a spell and teleport us to the Gothique Library. And we're here! Welcome to the Gothique Library that I've placed in Sunset Valley, but would also fit in Midnight Hollow or Moonlight Falls. It almost looks like a little version of the Goth family mansion, and it's definitely unique, but as you'll see, it also has that look of the early builds in Sims 3 lifecycle. On the outside there's a pond with some sunken statues, in the back there's a dark courtyard with a Grim Reaper fountain and some badly lit tombstones. On the inside everything's red and grey, and it also almost seems to be medieval themed. I guess I'd say so, maybe. I mean, there are no computers or any electronics to that matter, maybe excluding some lamps. What's also weirdly useful is that even though it's considered a library, there's a bathroom with a bathtub and even a sleeping chamber, so it can be pretty useful while doing, for example, rags to riches. And there are other fun things, such as the attic or the creepy basement with a fire pit inside. I mean, that was definitely put there using move objects because nobody in their right mind would start a fire in the basement. But all of those rooms feel very shallow, or maybe the better word to use is amateur? I absolutely hate that the courtyard has glitch lighting that could easily be fixed by making one wall a fence. I also think that the inside is very confused. Those patterns and colors just don't match at all, and I feel like with a little bit more experience with the build and buy tool, it could have looked much better. But the thing that infuriates me the most about this lot is that it doesn't have the special object that's the main selling point of this set. And that's a nice way to segue into the Book of Spells, which is the new gameplay object. That's where this set gets a lot of brownie points for me, because you have to remember that it's the first time magic has appeared in The Sims 3. Before that, Supernatural lovers only had the vampires that came with Late Night expansion pack, and maybe a few themed objects here and there, but this was the first instance of actual magic abilities in The Sims 3, and for that time it was a great little snack for everybody thirsty for wizardry in The Sims. Looking at it now, over a decade later, it can be considered a nice addition for everybody who likes occult Sims and has already played through everything Supernatural had to offer. What it essentially is a little book where your Sims can learn 5 spells: Summon, Summon Acquainted, Mood Elevatus, Unleash Animal, and Enchant. Your Sims can learn them, and then you can use them by clicking on your Sim and choosing to cast a spell. In the order I've read them. The first spell is Summon, that allows your Sim to spawn a random townie onto your lot, while Summon Acquainted does the exact same thing, but now you can also choose to summon Sims from your friends lists. Mood Elevatus gives your Sim either a good or a bad moodlet that hugely influences their mood. The best spell, in my opinion, is Unleash Animal, which makes the surrounding Sims very itchy and makes them lose some of their needs. And the last spell is honestly not that clear to me. Enchant can be done on the book, and all it does is that the book sometimes flips its pages by itself and it glows a little. And yeah, as you can tell, the gameplay isn't very deep, but for such meh lot, it can definitely sustain itself, and if it's in the library, it's also a great way to make it an interesting place to visit. But why it's nowhere in the library, I cannot tell you. And overall, I'd say that this lot is cute, but doesn't hold up with everything else in the Sims 3 store. There simply are better alternatives to get this style of objects or gameplay, so I'm not surprised it wasn't really remembered by the Sims community. I think there are two fun ways you can look at this set. First, a lot to renovate with some nice ideas but mid-execution, or a historical lot, like a time capsule, but not for the in-game world like Sunset Valley, but for The Sims 3 in general. I don't even know how to describe it really, but it's funny seeing those objects and that building style way before Supernatural or Midnight Hollow were ever released, where you can tell that those things they tried to achieve here were done way better in those towns. So I can't really say it's worth it. I mean, you can check this lot out. I'll maybe make a video about it because I can go into details why it doesn't really work. But for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next Wednesday. That was a goth joke.